talked to you all in so long. Things have been weird. Good, but some weird. So I am back for a very specific reason. I am so thrilled, like beyond honored, to be asked for another year to join the 25 Days of Planner Tips collaboration hosted by Tamra, the Paper and Pen Girl here on YouTube. And I was so tickled when I got her message. I'm just happy to be back. This is one of my favorite things about December, is this collab. Every year it is so slam full of good information, and Tamra does a great job of coming up with a topic every year. And we'll talk about this year's topic in just a moment. But first I want to tell Tamra thank you for inviting me another year. I am, like I said, I'm really, really tickled that you asked once again, and I'm super happy to be here in such an amazing group of people. Just so many great tips and tricks and stories and hints and whatnot for each year's topic. So thank you, Tamra, for that. I really do appreciate it. Now, if you have followed along from yesterday's video, that was by Miranda at Mrs. Thinking of a Master Plan. And so welcome. If you've never been here before and you're coming along from Miranda's video, I want to tell her thank you for sending everybody this way. And I want right now to send you guys forward for tomorrow's video. You will be with Joanna or Jojo at Mojo Jojo Plans. Again, all the links will be down there. And so tomorrow, please go follow on with her. Now, if you've just kind of fallen into this and haven't started at the beginning, by all means, please go back to Tamra's channel for the December 1st video. And at the end, she will also be doing another video that will also have a giveaway. So the full playlist of everybody doing a daily video for the collab is down there, okay? So everything should be available for you down there. Now, this year's topic from Tamra was planner accomplishments. And what jumped into my head right away was, well, let me reverse a little bit. So the idea is, and she describes it in her video on December 1st, far better than I'm going to, I can tell you that right now. But basically, either what have you been able to accomplish because of your planner, or planner-wise, what have you accomplished, okay? And what immediately jumped into my head when I heard this year's topic was, because of this thing, in whatever iteration it, resides in currently, I was able to go back to school. And that never would have happened if I didn't have a planner. I have to have a planner. I know if you've been here any amount of time at all, I'm sure you've heard me say that 100 times. I do not have or do not know a better way to keep my brain together than this way. So, and as I said, it could be in a different format. I know many of you are probably really shocked, going, oh my gosh, yeah, it's kind of sort of a bullet journal, kind of. It's my own little personal spin on a bullet journal. And that had to happen because fall semester started. I didn't know if I was going to be able to go to school again in the fall. I was able to go last spring semester. And this semester was very different. Then I did get the chance to go back to school, and I was offered a job on campus. So many, many things changed very quickly all at once. And the only reason, if I'm being honest with you, the only reason I was able to just leap and go ahead and say, yep, I'm going to do those things, was because of this. So if you have things in your life that either come up like opportunities or things you want to do, I've always wanted to do that, is now the time to do that. Or things happen that are out of your control and you have to deal with them. I had put some thought into what kinds of questions I had to ask myself when I was considering going back to school. I'm very much a non-traditional student. And then being offered a job on campus too, I didn't want to be unavailable when my youngest son was out of school. I still wanted to be able to take him to school, pick him up, do his homework with him, things like that. So it was a question of a lot of different moving pieces, right? We have a very large family. So I had to first look at these questions that I had, and this answered all of them. So I thought maybe I would run through kind of my thought process about this a little bit. And because this helped, we'll use this as an as a guide. Okay. So the biggest question about whether or not I should go back to school was just the logistical side of things, right? Like my current responsibilities. Like we have a large family. My just lots of moving pieces, lots of schedules that have to work together. The things that I have to do to make sure like that the house doesn't fall apart, right? The existing things that I was already doing, those daily, weekly, monthly tasks kind of things. Would I be able to have the time and the energy for things like homework and studying and doing all the reading and writing lab reports and things like that? Without, my biggest thing was I didn't want to take too much time away from our youngest son. That was my whole thing. And I mean, he's not little, but he's still young. So I wanted to see if I could strike a balance. And part of what pushed me in the direction of going back to school was, first of all, I've never finished, and it has always been kind of on me to finish. It's always been on my mind. It's always been there. I absolutely love school. So I had always planned on going back, and I did not want to wait any longer, but I needed to make sure it would work. So what I need to make things work so that I can fit something else big, school and a job on campus, is I need a schedule, right? I need to be able to see a whole schedule at a glance. I need to be able to see the whole month in one look. I need to see when I'm working. I need to see when exams are. I need to see activities at my son's school, extracurriculars, appointments, meetings, things like that. So I already knew that I already had a monthly overview that worked for me. Okay. And a lot of this will kind of repeat what's in my planner needs video that I did over the summer, but some of it I feel bears repeating. So if some of it sounds familiar, I apologize for that. But just the logistical part of going back to school, I have been in a planner for so long that I knew I had it covered because I have a system that works for my brain and my current situation in life. Now, if I'm going back to school, I'm changing my current situation in life, right? In a big way. So I needed to go through what I had going, which was in a pocket-sized TN, and I needed to make sure that that would suffice. And right away, before the semester started this fall, I knew that wasn't going to work. The workload this semester, between going back to class and having labs that I didn't have last semester and a job on top of it, it wasn't going to work. So I went to an expanded Moleskine. So that's one of the first things I did was, okay, if I'm going back to school, is this going to work for me? Right away, just prepping to go back in the fall, which I didn't think I was going to be able to do. And then all of a sudden I could. It was what I have going isn't going to work. I have to change it, and I have to change it now. So that willingness to be flexible, right? That had a big hand in it, because this had to work. If this wasn't working, there wasn't anything else that was going to work. I promise you that. So having, the monthly schedule laid out the way I need it, I can see things very quickly, and having the whole semester in here for, all the way through December. So I had like August through December through here. So I knew I had it set up in advance. So that was kind of a task and time thing for me, is I can set this up and I don't have to fiddle with it anymore as far as my monthlies go. And then in between each month, I made sure that I had space for projects and whatnot, timelines, things like that. Now, the other thing as far as logistics go is I have to be able to do homework and write lab reports and whatnot, right? So that is where my project section came in. And I literally just did a project for each class I was in, made sure I had a working workflow for the week for each class. So what day I needed to do what for each class, whether I was in class or not, what do I need to do for that class that day? And then just the whole list of when are quizzes, when are lab reports due, right? And I had certification I had to do for work. So I set up a project page for that. I treated everything that I could treat as a project. Okay. So that way these things filter into my monthly and my weekly tasks, and nothing gets missed. And that's another thing that you can go either way on this. I firmly believe pretty much anything you do in planning should revolve around what works best for you. For me, I have a lot of purposeful redundancy. So yes, I have due dates, like this is for one class, right? So I have all the due dates for everything due for this class in one set of project pages. The big things, the big things like exams, lab exams, things like that, those also went on my monthly calendar. Okay, and they got highlighted. And sometimes a dot too. So they're here, but they're also here. Well, guess what? They also end up in the weekly as well, because I need to be able to see what is going on each week. So the upside to that is I can see what's going on each week without having to look at this whole monthly. If I'm just looking to see, oh, I know I'm going to have a quiz. When is that going to be? I can go straight to just the class and just look. Okay, that's when it's going to be. I don't have to let my brain get infiltrated with all these other things that are going on, right? So that helped. Having due dates and things organized in a way that made sense to my brain and being very much already at home in my planner really helped me to overcome kind of the other fears and insecurities I had about going back. Because if this wasn't going to work, then I was going to doubt that any of it was going to work, right? I needed to be able to see the existing schedules, my existing responsibilities, the existing tasks that I already have on a day-to-day basis. And then what of those things can give, right? If I have a big paper due or a huge lab report to write, or somebody gets sick and I whatever, what can give, what can I delegate? We have a very large family, so we have a big wide age range of kids. What can I delegate to some of those older kids, because they're always willing to help. So I needed to get better about taking them up on that, right? Where do I have room for flexibility? Do I have room for flexibility? And if I do, where is it? At what times of day do I have the option of going, okay, well, I need to do this, this, and this. What do I do first? Because I have the flexibility to do that. Having a workflow set for my classes, so I had an idea of each day what I needed to get done to stay as far, ahead of the game as I could. That was a big deal, right? Having my planner work for me and not me work for it really helped keep things moving along. Having a weekly setup that has more detail in it than the monthly. This is all set up the way that my planners have always worked, as we start big and I work my way smaller, or I start zoomed way out and I zoom way in by the daily, right? So having just a look at just the week to see what is due when, just for this week, what is coming up for next week, and a place for all of the tasks for each little area of my life, right? So this thing changed a lot. The weekly section changed a lot from like the beginning of the semester to the end. Like this was the beginning of the semester, and this very quickly was becoming not enough room, and this was just wider than I really needed it to be. So having the flexibility to change things up. So it ended up more like this, right? Where I had more space each day here in blocks, bigger blocks, so I could make vertical lists rather than sideways. I don't know why, this is just what my brain wanted, so I went with it. And that was kind of the beauty of just going into a blank book, was week by week, I could set it up differently if I felt I needed to, right? So this helped me find that time for homework, for lab reports and studying and doing all my reading and whatnot. And again, it's that purposeful redundancy, because a lot of this stuff is already in the project section or in the monthly. But if I go looking for just what I need to do this week, I don't want to have to look in multiple places. So this thing and this thing all filter into this thing, right? And as the semester went on, I fell away more and more from my dailies. But for a good portion of the semester, I was in dailies. And that was, little tasks here and there. I would separate each month in my dailies with printables from Paper Test Designs, from her monthly freebies. That's what's on the cover as well. And this gave me space for gratitude. This was part of not the logistics part of figuring out whether or not I could do this. It was part of like the mental and emotional part of it, right? A place for gratitude. I had a chunk of place for notes from classes, stuff that I needed to make sure would stick in my head. Well, my planner's always with me. So I know that these notes that I know I need to go over and over and over are always going to be with me, because my planner's always with me, right? I'm not going to haul my whole binder everywhere with me for classes, each binder, but this will always be with me. Space to journal. So if I'm having a rough day or I'm struggling with something or I'm doubting this, because yes, those times happen. Even if you're super excited to do something, sometimes it can feel like a big task. So space to get those things out of my head, because once they're out of my head and on the paper, they feel like they can be processed. I feel like they're more tangible once they're on paper, so they're more handleable, if that's a word. And a place for accomplishments. If you don't have a place to put your accomplishments in your planner, I highly, highly recommend it. I love being able to look back at the end of a semester or the end of a year and see what all I accomplished. So I'll show you that. I have a fold out from Peanuts Planner Co. for the year. And I just, when I had exams, when I made videos, when I finished a book, whatever, the things that I'm glad that I did, or things that I'm proud of, an exam that came out, really well, that I worked hard, to get a good grade on, things like that. Liam's goofing around at the door, sorry. So that is kind of the pile of things that it all kind of comes down to having the system that works for my brain and my current situation in life. And sometimes life is going to change your situation up for you, right? And I know when those times hit, I don't need to have to put much thought into this. And I do need this to get from one day to the next. I do need this to make sure things keep rolling along, right? So having a system and a setup that works for my brain, works for where I am in life, so that if I'm going to make a big decision, I have something I can depend on, right? If you're going to go back to school, if you're thinking about, having a child, if you're thinking about changing jobs or moving or whatever the case may be, having this already working makes all those other things that either you're deciding or that come along unprompted a little easier to handle. So that's kind of my spiel about what my planner has helped me to accomplish. I could not be happier having gone back to school. It has brought opportunities that I never thought I would have. And I'm really, really grateful for them. I'm also grateful to all of you for showing up and watching this video after I've been gone for so long. I hope you're all well. Please, if you haven't, go to Tamra's day one video, and she has the whole playlist. I also have the whole playlist as well. Watch everything all the way through. It's a really great chance to see some, tips and hear some great stories, see some great planner usage. And make sure, I want to again thank Miranda from Mrs. Thinking of Master Plan for passing everybody to me today. And please make sure that you go to Mojo Jojo Plans tomorrow and watch Jojo's video about her planner accomplishments as well. I hope you're all well. I hope the year is ending well for all of you. And I really, really hope to talk to all of you again soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.